In 1929, a young real estate agent from Niles, Laura Whipple, heard that the Navy was looking for a site in California to build a strategic air base. She then visited a piece of land located between Sunnyvale and Mountain View. At that time, the land was used to raise broccoli, cauliflower, and hay. When asked what she saw when she visited the ranch, she answered simply, "An air base." She went to work gathering support from the local communities, and soon all of the Bay Area cities were raising money to buy the land. Still, the Navy had not made up its mind. San Diego's Camp Kearney was a serious contender for the base, but Laura Whipple wanted it here. Undaunted, she worked with the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce to produce a film that would help convince both the public and the Navy that this was the ideal strategic location from which to launch massive airships to patrol the Pacific coast. Airships, or dirigibles, were rapidly gaining popularity as a valuable military transport and for tactical scouting over the Pacific Ocean. On May 23, 1930, this locally produced film was shown to the public at the Strand Theater on Murphy Avenue. The Strand became the Palace, then the Town and Country, and finally is now a nightclub. We're now able to see this historic film for the first time since the 1930s. In 1930, traveling by air was a relatively rare treat, so local residents were amazed to see what their communities looked like when viewed from above. A cameraman must have roamed the streets of Sunnyvale looking for shots to use that would help promote Sunnyvale to the government. These fine Sunnyvale homes, some still standing today, were presented in the film as being typical for the town. The planning and promotion for the new Navy base, or airport as some called it, continued. But this new Navy airport wouldn't be Sunnyvale's first port. It was built right on top of another. You can still see the remains of the 2-mile-long dredged shipping channel that was the South Shore Port, which opened with high hopes in 1920, but closed in bankruptcy by 1927. There are no visible remains of the turning basin or the docks or the warehouses that were part of the South Shore Port. This first port was eventually forgotten by local residents, and without any physical evidence of its location, it's hard to imagine fruits and other local produce being shipped from Sunnyvale to San Francisco and points north. The best way to see where the port was located is by looking at an old aerial photograph of Moffett Field. This photograph shows the recently completed hangars 2 and 3. The port and its structures were visible up to the mid-40s, as you can see in this photograph taken in 1943. The old port was captured for posterity by accident, If you were to overlay a modern image of the same location, you would see that the extension of the runways after World War II covered the turning basin and the port warehouse. The competition between San Diego and Sunnyvale for the new naval air base was fierce. San Diego newspapers claimed that the Bay Area was too foggy to fly dirigibles, and San Francisco newspapers commented on the volume of air traffic and the many angles of attack that made San Diego vulnerable. Finally, a decision was made and President Herbert Hoover signed the bill allowing the Navy to take ownership of the property for $1 and to appropriate $5 million to build the base and the giant hangar. At the same time that the base was under construction in Sunnyvale, the Navy was busy in Akron, Ohio, building the first of the 2 largest U.S. airships ever created. The eventual arrival of those airships at the new base served to reinforce Walter Crossman's dream of Sunnyvale as the city of destiny.